Always speak with your own healthcare professional before making big changes to your lifestyle or supplement routine. Close your eyes and picture yourself celebrating your 92nd birthday. Friends gather, candles flicker, and when it's time to cut the cake, you stand up from your chair. No wobble, no caregiver at your elbow, no secret fear that your knees will buckle. You slice, you serve, and then you mingle. Later, you stroll out to the garden, leaning on nothing but the breeze. That dream of easy movement into extreme old age isn't science fiction. It's a real possibility, and the key may be a single nutrient hiding in plain sight. Every year in the United States, 1 out of 4 adults over 65 takes a tumble serious enough to land in the emergency department. For too many, that fall sets off a cascade. Hip surgery, rehabilitation, lost independence, sometimes even a permanent move to assisted living. Yet large-scale clinical research shows those statistics can be bent, and the lever is vitamin D. Most people file vitamin D under bone health and stop there, but D is also a quiet power broker for muscle fibers, balance sensors, and nerve conduction. When D runs low, muscles shrink faster, reaction times drag, and the tiny stabilizer fibers around the ankles and knees quit firing in sync. The result feels like walking through sand, unsteady, exhausting, and dangerous. A landmark trial, published in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society, followed older adults who took a modest vitamin D supplement versus those who didn't. The D group fell 23% less often. Separate observational work shows that seniors sitting at the bottom 10th of the vitamin D range walk measurably slower and test weaker on leg strength machines than age-matched peers whose D sits snugly in the middle. Why does one vitamin wield such influence? Think of a muscle fiber as a mini factory. Calcium signals contract, magnesium relaxes, and vitamin D plays shift supervisor. It turns on genes that manufacture the proteins myosin and actin, molecular motors without which muscle strands go slack. D is also the hormone that primes intestines to absorb calcium in the first place. No D, no raw material for either bone or muscle. Now here's the part that rattles geriatric medicine. More than 60% of adults over 65 carry suboptimal vitamin D, and about 30% qualify as outright deficient. The older we get, the harder skin works to make D from sunlight, partly because the skin thins, and partly because many seniors wisely protect themselves from skin cancer with clothing or sunscreen. Mix in indoor hobbies, long winters at northern latitudes, or medications that interfere with vitamin D metabolism, and levels slide lower year after year. How do you know if you're in that danger zone? Classic red flags include persistent muscle weakness, particularly in the thighs and hips, unsteady balance when stepping off a curb, bone pain along the shin or lower back, slow healing scrapes, and nighttime leg cramps that jolt you awake. Any combination warrants a simple blood test called 25-hydroxy vitamin D. Results come back in nanograms per milliliter. Most endocrinologists aim for at least 30 mg/ml, but mobility studies often note optimal muscle performance in the 40 to 60 ml window. Suppose the lab envelope arrives and your number reads 18. What next? Think of vitamin D strategy as a three-legged stool: sunlight, diet, and supplementation. Remove one leg and the stool wobbles. Neglect two and it tips. First leg, sunlight. D is the only vitamin the body can manufacture when ultraviolet B light kisses bare skin. Trouble is, efficiency plummets with age. A healthy 40-year-old might need 20 minutes of midday sun on the forearms to generate adequate D. An 80-year-old with the same exposure could make less than half as much. Still, natural light is free medicine. Aim for 20 to 30 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. when UVB is strongest. Skip sunscreen on a forearm or lower leg for that brief period, then cover up or apply sunblock afterward to guard against skin cancer. If you live above the 42nd parallel or endure months of cloud cover, consider a medical-grade light box designed to emit UVB. 10 to 15 minutes in front of that lamp while you read morning headlines can approximate midsummer sunshine without leaving your living room. Second leg, diet. Very few foods supply meaningful vitamin D, but the exceptions are powerful. A single 3-ounce serving of wild salmon delivers roughly 570 IU. Mackerel, sardines, and tuna follow close behind. Egg yolks provide about 40 IU each, and many dairy companies fortify milk and yogurt with 100 IU per cup. Mushrooms, remarkably, create vitamin D when exposed to ultraviolet light. Look for packages labeled UV treated, slice them into an omelette, and add another 100 units to breakfast. Still, cobbling together 800 to 1,000 units daily through food alone proves difficult, which brings us to the third leg, supplementation. Vitamin D comes in 2 forms, D2, ergocalciferol, and D3, cholecalciferol. Both can raise blood levels, but D3 is chemically identical to the type your skin makes and typically raises serum concentrations more efficiently. How much? The American Endocrine Society recommends 600 IU daily for adults 50 to 70 and 800 IU for those over 70, yet mobility studies often use doses between 1,000 and 2,000 IU to hit the 40 to 60 ashwamel sweet spot. Many geriatricians start patients at 1,000 IU daily, retest after 3 months, and adjust. Because vitamin D is fat-soluble, swallow your capsule with a meal containing healthy fat, a dab of olive oil, or a spoon of nut butter to boost absorption. A word on safety. Excess vitamin D can raise blood calcium too high, stressing kidneys and, ironically, hardening arteries, the very tissues we're trying to protect. That toxicity almost always stems from megadoses far north of 10,000 IU daily for months. Stay within recommended therapeutic ranges and recheck blood levels twice a year. You'll capture benefits without courting danger. Vitamin D rarely works alone. Magnesium is the spark plug that converts circulating vitamin D into its active hormonal form. Without enough magnesium, you can swallow D all day and still reap only partial returns. Foods rich in magnesium, spinach, Swiss chard, almonds, pumpkin seeds, oatmeal deserve a regular seat at the table. Some seniors add a 200-400 milligrams magnesium glycinate supplement at dinner, especially if they struggle with nighttime leg cramps. Let's talk timelines, because motivation fades when results feel abstract. In patients starting with low vitamin D, muscles often complain the loudest, so they tend to quiet first. Within 2 weeks of daily D and adequate magnesium, many people notice fewer spasms and a subtle bump in morning energy. Around the 1-month mark, stair climbing feels sturdier. The banister becomes a courtesy instead of a crutch. After 3 months, assuming consistent intake, bone density scans can tick upward a few percentage points, and physical therapy balance tests show fewer missteps. A large meta-analysis covering dozens of trials found that keeping serum vitamin D above 40 mg for 3 to 6 months trimmed overall fall risk by 31%, boosted lower body strength by more than a third, and cut fracture odds nearly in half. These numbers sound dramatic because they are, yet the intervention is humble. Sunlight, salmon, and a tiny capsule you can buy at any pharmacy. The trick is consistency. Vitamin D resembles brushing your teeth. Skip a week, and decay creeps back. Post a reminder on the refrigerator, or pair your D3 capsule with another non-negotiable habit, like morning coffee. If you're already on multiple prescriptions, ask your pharmacist to run an interaction screen. Thiazide diuretics, certain weight loss drugs containing orlistat, and long-term prednisone can all distort vitamin D metabolism. The fix might be as simple as splitting doses 12 hours apart. Your pharmacist sees these puzzles daily and will gladly solve yours. Of course, no vitamin outruns poor overall fitness. Combine adequate D with twice-weekly resistance training. Body weight squats at the kitchen counter, resistance band rows, heel raises while brushing teeth, and you create a virtuous loop. Stronger muscles tug on bones, bones thicken in response, and vitamin D ensures the calcium supply line stays open. Add brisk walks or cycling to keep heart and lungs in sync, and you've built a fortress against frailty. Let's circle back to the dream we began with. Slicing birthday cake at 92. That vision stands on daily choices that start right now. Here's a quick roadmap you can hang on the fridge. Schedule a blood test for 25-hydroxy vitamin D. Aim for 20 to 30 minutes of midday sun 3 times a week. Eat a fatty fish meal twice weekly, and keep fortified dairy or UV-treated mushrooms in rotation. Take 800 to 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily with a meal containing healthy fat, unless your physician directs otherwise. Pair D with 200 pounds 400 milligrams of magnesium from food or a gentle supplement. Retest levels after 3 months and adjust. Combine with simple strength moves and balance drills. Ask yourself right now, when was the last time I checked my vitamin D? If the honest answer is, I don't remember, you've just found the first step toward a stronger, steadier future. Drop a comment below with the word tested once you schedule that blood draw. It keeps you accountable and inspires someone else to do the same. While you're here, tap the like button if this information shines a new light on an old vitamin. Share it with a friend who complains about leg cramps. And subscribe to The Vibrant Senior so you never miss the next evidence-based tip on living boldly at any age. Consistency, sunlight, smart food, a small capsule, and maybe a chair squat or two. That's the formula. Follow it, and the odds tilt toward greeting every birthday candle with the confident legs to stand tall, step forward, and dance a little, even at 92.